video δεν πρέπει να παίξουμε. Good evening or good morning or whatever other place in the earth you are. We'll start this webinar with our marketing manager, Nick Asimenos, to tell you a few words about the course and how we're going to proceed.
Thank you, Professor Magridakis, and welcome. You know, as Professor Magridakis quite rightly said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And thanks for joining us on this call. When we discussed, the setting up this call, it basically has two purposes. Number one, of course, is to allow the participants to ask the instructors anything. But the second part is also to get a feeling of, the kind of access that participants in the course will have. So the next applied forecasting course is rapidly coming up on the 22nd of February. However, we've got a week zero, which begins the week before, which is basically next week, which will allow people to get an understanding of our software. We use this as the programming language, and this extra week that we've added on, does give participants the opportunity to get a little bit more of a feeling to R. So welcome to the call, and please feel free to ask anything you want that has to do with the call, and I'll pass you over to to the instructors so they can give you a quick introduction. Yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome on board.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so I start. I'm one of the three. So together with Professor Makridakis and Dr. Spiliotis, my name is Pasquale, and I'm here together with my colleagues to answer all of your questions about our course. Our course will start in 2 weeks from now. So the first live class will be on the 22nd of February. But actually already next week, for those that have enrolled or will enroll in the course, there is what we call a week zero, which is a sort of preliminary week in which you can already find some interesting materials to start with the course, in which there are some social events and presenting ourselves and meet each other, unfortunately online, but it's that's how it goes. So any question for us?
Just to say a few things from my side as well. I'm Vangelis Spiliotis, one of the tutors, and you can ask anything using the chat. The questions might be whatever you might have in mind about which is the material of the course, what kind of things we'll cover, how we will apply those things in practice. If you had the chance to look at the website, where we will be using R, which is a very simple programming language to start working with statistics and forecasting. So either about the context or the implementation of the course, we're here to hear your questions.
And what is very important is that a course that you're going to learn how to forecast. It's hands-on course, as Nick keeps saying. It's not going to be a theory course. We're going to talk about theory, but in reality, it's a course that the objective is you are going to learn how to program.
Yes, because a lot of people speak about forecasting. A lot of people speak about blabber about forecasting, but the goal of this course is to teach you how actually to forecast. So let me share a little bit my screen so I can show you one thing. Let me see. Yes. Now, if you go, I hope you can see our my screen now. So if you go on our website, and the website, you can read it here, is MOFC, so Makridakis Open Forecasting Center, .unique, University of Nicosia, .ac.cy, so for Cyprus. If you go there, you reach the Makridakis Open Forecasting Center, and under M courses, you can find the Applied Forecasting course. Now you see here, for example, the flyer for what concerns today's event. And here you find all the basic information you may want to know about our course. So the duration, 6 weeks, we start on February the 22nd, and then we go on for 6 weeks until April. The workload is on average, depending on the week, 10 hours. All teaching is online, but what we want to stress, and this is very important, is not that you will just have a bunch of pre-recorded things. You will find sometimes some videos, like for example in week 0, but for the rest is live interaction. So we have our classes on Wednesday evening or morning or afternoon, depending where you are. So we have these classes and it's live. It's either Professor Makridakis, Dr. Spiliotis, or me teaching the subject, discussing with you, interacting with you, and we want to teach you how to deal with forecasting and to discuss your actual problems. So we are very open to you bringing your problems, bringing your data if you want, for the assignments, but also for the discussion in the classes. And if you scroll a little bit here, you will find the course outline. As Vangelis told you, we will use R, and in week 0, you find a set of videos to help you get acquainted with R. And obviously during the course, we see more and more. You don't need to be an expert in R. If you know some other programming language, it's good because then it's easier. But even if you are totally free from any knowledge on programming, you can start from scratch with us. And you have the objectives of the course, some description about us if you are interested in us, but I think you are much more interested in the course, and that's what's important. And the course is really open to everyone that is interested in forecasting, but really in learning how forecasting is performed, how you can interpret the results of forecasts, how you can improve your forecasting if you are already a forecaster or if you have been using forecasting techniques in your daily job, and information about also the, let's say, the least pleasant part, like the evaluation, so the assignment and the final the bi-weekly assignments and the final projects that you have to submit, and that will be corrected by us in order to grant you with the final certificate, which is a valuable asset for your CV. And the certificate, since unique, is unique in the sense that it also plays with blockchain and all the latest technologies. The certificate is actually validated on a blockchain. So you can really share it and have the proof that you attended successfully the course.
Thank you very much for that, Pasquale. There's a question, what is the structure of the program? I think you've absolutely done a great job of answering that. Something that, another 2 points that I would like to jump in and add is, number one is there are no pre-recorded videos on the live session as you'd expect. And the reason that we chose to do it this way is to give, to enable this interaction. And the other point that I do want to mention, which I think is probably one of the most important points of this, the actual course, is the encouragement for participants to use their own data, to bring or use their own data. You've got a team of world experts, that will be helping you, working with you to, to get the right formula. So I would say that, these two, the live videos, again, allows the interaction, direct interaction with the instructors, and the ability to bring your own data to disseminate and work on with these legends in forecasting is it's a huge benefit. So yeah.
Can I add?
Oh, sorry, Spiros.
That the people who don't have data, we have plenty of data to give them, so they just have to ask. Don't forget, we are doing the M competitions. In the M4 competition, we have 100,000 time series. In the M5, we have 42,000 time series. So we have plenty of data. So you tell us what kind of data you would like to learn, forecast, and we'll give you as many series as you want to try.
Yeah, it's a course that you can really consider tailor-made, in the sense that if you have your data and you have your actual problems, you can discuss it with us. You can share the data with us, and obviously under all confidentiality, there is no discussion about that, and we can help you with that. If you don't have the data because maybe you are approaching forecasting for the first time, again, no problem. We have plenty of data coming from the M competitions and other sources, so it's really. If you are interested in the electricity market, we can play with that. If you are interested in non-financial topics, we can play with this type of data. If you are interested in engineering data, consumer data. So what you will learn can be applied to many things, and that's why we want to discuss that with you. One thing, it's true that there is no recorded material in principle apart from week 0, but all the live lessons are recorded, in the sense that if for whatever reason you cannot attend one specific lesson, or you have to leave because you have some other things to do, you will always find all the recording ex post, and all the materials will stay there for you even after the end of the course. So the set of materials will stay there for you to use it when you want it.
I'm going to pick some questions, not in the way that they appear, but as one question might be directly relevant to what one of the instructors talking about. And Rodrigo, hi there, Rodrigo. Rodrigo's asking, can you share some examples of forecasting applications which will be discussed throughout the course?
Sure. Well, as Pascal discussed, we will cover a lot of different applications here. If the course is actually structured so that you will be able to get some basic knowledge of time series forecasting, regression, and then in week 2 and 4, machine learning. And finally, with Pascal, you will examine the risk, fat tails, and see some very interesting applications at work. In each course, however, we will try to see different examples to apply the methods we'll be learning. For example, this can be applied for demand forecasting, so for supply chain management, Other applications might be relevant to the stock market or electricity demand and other energy products. So there's a lot of variation there depending on the things we'll be learning. For example, with when we'll be learning about machine learning algorithms, we'll be focusing on applications where high frequency data like hourly data will be relevant. In other applications, we might be see low frequency data, like for example, we use this kind of data to prepare budgets for companies. So a lot of different applications for you to work with. I don't know if Pascal wants to add anything on this based.
Yes, as Vangelis was saying, actually, we have different type of applications. So we have, like, for example, consumer demand, we have financial time series, for example, for returns, but also from the risk management point of view. For example, if you're interested in forecasting the losses that your portfolio can generate. I can tell that, for example, in one of my classes, I also look at the forecasts that have been made for the actual pandemic, so COVID-19, and we discuss those forecasts, trying to understand if they worked, if they did not work, and I can give a spoiler, most of the times they did not work, so we will use that to try to understand why they did not work. So how they could have been done in a better way using the different techniques that you will discover in this course.
Can I add something? We say that this is a forecasting course, but actually this is only a part, forecasting is only a part of the course. We spend a lot of time on uncertainty because you cannot have forecasts that they're perfect. There's always uncertainty in forecasting. So we talk a lot about uncertainty. And then when you have uncertainty, you have to realize what is the risk, what are the risks of being not capable of forecasting precisely what's happened. So another good part of the course about risk.
Yeah.
What you do with the risk that it's in the future, like talking about the pandemic, the risk that is created, it's phenomenal. And part of what Pasquale will talk is how you deal with this risk, particularly when the risk is not nice, normally distributed, as we say in textbooks, but it's fat tails. It's
yeah, we will cover fat
one
tails,
side.
we will cover tail risk. So we will call extreme events. That is to say, in the last part of the course, in the last 2 weeks of the course, we will discuss together these topics that are actually very important in forecasting, but also in general, because it's very important that you have a way of trying to estimate what is the chance that an event that can have a very big impact, yet a rare event manifests itself. Yeah.
Pasquale, there's a question here that I think it's probably best directed, directly at you. Can you give an example of how the program can help an executive to enhance its forecasting skill?
Yeah.
So,
yes. So the program, if we think of an executive, the program has, I think, 2 very important points of strength. First of all, if you are not an expert in forecasting, as it could be, you immediately get the understanding that you need to read and comment upon the forecast that maybe people in your organization produce. So that's very important. So also to have a critical view on this type of results. At the same time, being able to perform forecasts even from scratch, using the techniques that we will see, given the ability that you will learn to perform forecasts with R, for example, it will give you some sort of superpower as an executive, because if you have the data, as you will have probably for your organization, then you can use that data to try to predict consumer behavior, the evolution of the demand, or depending in the field in which obviously you work, you might be interested in understand. So for example, one example, one of the things that we will cover is, for example, how to predict the height of waves in the sea. And you think, okay, what's the importance of that? Okay, imagine that your business is to build, as they do in the Netherlands, dams to protect your country from that. Then it's fundamental to know how to forecast that type of event. And that amount of knowledge that you will gain can be immediately applied to different fields. So finance, engineering, medicine, biology. I mean, there is actually no upper limit. You can really, yes.
Let's think of that like a decision support tool. Forecasting is a tool for supporting decisions. So everyone working in a company, regardless of the level of his position, this is a very useful ability to have. There is also a couple of questions. I will try to answer them. The first thing is about the duration of the live sessions. Each live session lasts 2 hours. There's also a chat there you can use to provide your questions, if any. There's also a live, there's also a forum where you can post your questions and ask anything you like, either about the material of the course in general, or if you have any special requirements. There's a question here about if we will be providing any literature. We do. We have a lot of supporting material. We call it supporting material inside the course. We provide some papers we find essential for reading further and getting more knowledge on the topics we'll be discussing. However, you can always use the forum to ask for additional things you might be interested in, because of course we limit, in order not for you to be lost, we limit the resources into a reasonable amount, but you can always ask for more, and we will come back to you.
Yes, indeed. The forum is a fundamental part of the course that I always tell participants to exploit a lot, because obviously during the live classes we are there, so you can ask your questions, we will interact, but maybe after, when you are reading the course materials or before the lesson, so you may have added questions, and the course forum is fundamental because you can post your question. If any of your colleagues can answer, he or she is invited to answer, because we like this discussion. Otherwise, we will answer the question. And maybe if I see on the course forum that many people are voting for a given question, then in the next class, we can pick that topic again. So it's very important that you exploit the course forum.
Can I
Also
add,
very helpful for the assignment.
Can I add something? Last time and the time before, the participants also, they had a lot of interaction among themselves and with Zoom. And it was very interesting, some of these interactions and some of the topics that they discussed and some of the new ideas that came up among the students who took the course. So Zoom now is open for everyone, and you can have interactions among yourselves, or the students have interactions among themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Last time, in last edition, they created a sort of study group. So they were meeting immediately before the live class to revise and to discuss, and then sharing their questions and all the other things with us. So, I mean, then obviously that part is left to you, but nowadays we really have a lot of ways of interacting.
But also, we have to emphasize there are some very high profile students who take the course. So there's a lot of learning that can be done between them, among themselves.
I would say if you're involved in forecasting, this is there's no better place to do some networking, serious networking than, on the forums of this course.
Sorry if I get you trying to say something.
No, I was just mentioning that you can use the forum to reply on questions about the assignments, which is very helpful for solving the exercises successfully. There's also a question about the level of the course. As Pascal explained, we will provide most of the things you'll need to start working with R. Of course, we assume that you have some basic statistical knowledge and you are able to understand some things about distributions and stuff like that. But again, in week 0, we will be providing some of those things for you to be prepared. But I don't believe that the course is just for a beginner or intermediate, because from week 1 to week 6, we'll be building on the things that we'll be learning. So although we will just start with the fundamentals of forecasting, we will quickly move to more advanced things, start seeing state-of-the-art methods. Of course, we will not end up programming with deep learning models, because this is not feasible for a 6-week course, but still we will have a look at very state-of-the-art models that you can use to produce forecasts for your organization. So it's not a beginner, it's a level course. It's a course that builds from one week to another. And of course, it's always up to you and the time that you will spend on reading the material, because we have experienced some students that read the whole material, or even read more than we provide, and they have excellent reports at the end. They have a very deep understanding of forecasting. Okay, so it's always up to you. The material will be there for you to get the maximum out of the course.
Yeah, there are compulsory materials, as Vangelis was telling. So these are what we want you to read in order to have a fruitful experience with the course. But we also provide a lot of extra materials that can really extend your knowledge. And obviously, if you want to go deeper, you can contact us via the course forum. You can contact us by writing us an email. So there is always ways of doing that. And even if, obviously, it's a 6-week course, so for certain topics, we provide you the knowledge then to be able to work on your legs and go on and deeper into the topic if you want. At the same time, in this course, you will see things that you will not see in other courses. Like, for example, as Professor Makridakis was saying, in terms of uncertainty, this is a course which is quite unique, because you will see things that are not covered elsewhere. In terms of, for example, extreme events and fact tales, again. And in terms of, for example, machine learning applied to forecasting, a lot of people speaks. So everyone speaks about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay, here you will see how to use that. Okay, so that's the difference between just speaking and learning on how to do things. And again, coming back to the previous question about what can benefit, what an executive can benefit from a course like this, I repeat, if you have on your desk a report that speaks about the application of machine learning for something, at the end of the course, you have the knowledge to understand if that report is meaningful or just blah, blah, blah.
That's true. And there's also a question about what kind of algorithms we will be teaching about machine learning. We'll be mostly focusing on 2 types of machine learning methods. Decision trees, which have a lot of variants. We'll see simple trees, we'll see gradient boosting, we'll see random forest, and also neural networks, some variants of neural networks. But the important thing here is not about the algorithms themselves, it's how to use them for forecasting, because these algorithms are generic. They are being used for natural language processing, for image recognition. The key here is to understand how you can take those algorithms that were not originally designed for solving forecasting tasks and make them work for that purpose.
And what we need to understand is that between Pasquale, Evangelis, and me, we have published in the last year maybe 20 papers in the top journals, and it's top knowledge in the field. We're some, without wanting to brag, we're some of the best known forecasters in the world.
Yeah, I think that the aspect of being able to bring your own data to, you know, to work with these, you know, as Professor Magridakis said, without meaning to brag, you know, these are some of the most respected you know, data scientists on the planet, and you know, being able to sit down, well, not sit down physically, but work with them on your own data, it's, you know, it's a huge benefit. It really is.
Any more questions? We're open to questions. That's the purpose of
we are
it.
here for that. We are here for that. So yes, we will suggest a lot of literature. We will share the papers. Everything is on the course website. So you find everything there. You can download the papers. Everything is there. The code. So when we play with the code, you will find the code for you to play with after. The live sessions are 2 hours from 6 to 8 Nicosia time. Then obviously it will depend on where you are in the world, where it's 2 hours. Yes, it's once a week on Wednesday. It's on Wednesday, and obviously the course is always open in the sense that the interaction on the course forum is every day. So give us a few hours. So if you post at 3 a.m. in the night, maybe we answer with a little delay, but on the course forum, we can interact every day. And then the live classes are every Wednesday for 2 hours.
Once a week, and the assignments are bi-weekly. So we will have the first assignment in week 2, the second in week 4, and then after the course ends, you will have the chance to select a forecasting problem that you are interested in to work with your final assignment.
Yes. And so for the final assignment,
six weeks plus some time before you submit your final assignment to get graded.
And for the final assignment, again, we stress that a lot because it's important. If you don't have the data, we will provide you with the data. So if you have a specific interest, just tell us. If you have your own data and you want to work on your own data, that's, I think, one of the big pluses of this course, because then you can also have our help on these data comments. So that's. The recorded lectures will be available. So after the course, you still have access to the course materials, so you can access. Now, if you say permanently, it depends what you mean for permanently. If you tell me 50 years from now, I don't know. But they will stay there for a long time. So yes, it's not that the day after the course or even a few months after the course, they disappear. You will still have access to all the course materials, yes, including the recorded lessons.
Artem's got a question on how useful course is in the domain of forecasting of financial market, time series.
It is actually quite useful because you know that in financial markets, there is forecast is or should be a relevant activity. We will see the different models that you can use to perform forecasts for a financial time series or whatever sort. So we can speak about returns, but we can also speak about interest rates. So the different type of time series you might be interested in. And very importantly, we will speak about topics that are typically ignored in other courses dealing with financial time series. That is to say, fat-tailed event, that means that we will quickly move away from the normal distribution, and we will not limit ourselves to the T distribution, which is somehow the substitute very common in finance. So we will try to understand, for example, how we can estimate very high quantiles. So what is the 99.999% loss that your portfolio can generate? What is the expected loss above a given threshold? So these are all topics that, if you are a little bit familiar with finance, you know are also related to the Basel framework. So we will see how to perform, for example, the worst case scenario forecast within the Basel framework. So I think it's very important for a financial guy to know these things. So it's should be the daily bread of a quant, but unfortunately it is not very common.
Can I add to what you said, Pasquale? We don't just forecast, compare the forecast to some benchmarks. And that's also very important. For instance, anybody can say, I can forecast well the stock market, but can you forecast well better than saying that tomorrow's prices will be the same like today?
Yes.
Which is a very basic benchmark. So in all our forecasts, we're going to stress the idea of the benchmarks. And again, may be able to forecast, but what will be the uncertainty in your forecast in the financial market? Is what you said. Can I look at the worst case scenario? Can I figure out what will be the risk if I buy something and things don't go as I forecast them?
Yes.
Any other questions?
I think there is a question more for you, that you are the top expert, Spiros. It's the one about the M5 competition.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about the M5 competition. We just finished it a few months ago, and we have done it together with Vagelis, who has done a lot of work about the competition. And we're going to talk about it. The M5 competition is about retail sales forecasting. Concerns a lot of people, and we're going to talk about a lot about it, as we're going to talk about the M4, which is a different kind of competition. So we're going to have a whole session, 1 hour, talking about the M competitions and the findings of M competitions, how these findings can improve the forecasting operations of firms and improve their profits.
Yes. For what concerns probabilistic forecasting, yes, we will cover probabilistic forecasting. Yeah, because I mean, we will cover uncertainty. So you know that it's totally useless. It's like astrology to say that tomorrow something will happen. I mean, if you say that tomorrow the price of an asset is 1,000, yes. So if you can guarantee me that your forecast is 100% correct, then it's fine. So you can say tomorrow is 1,000, but typically it's not the case. So you have to tell what is the confidence level of your forecast, what's the forecast interval, and how to deal with the uncertainty, which is inherent in every forecast. So we will cover all these type of things. And yes, the train validation testing is okay. It's in the basic if you want to be a good forecaster.
Just to add on the things that Professor Makridakis said about the M competitions, you should keep in mind that these kind of competitions drive the forecasting research in a significant manner. So apart from discussing the algorithms that won these competitions and the lessons learned, we will also see some key features that are now considered best practices based on the results of the competitions and how you can implement them in practice. So how, for example, we can disaggregate the models that won each competition and which are the key elements of becoming the most successful solutions, and how you can then use these ideas and incorporate them in your modeling process.
I see that there is a question about agent-based modeling. No, we are not covering agent-based models, also because agent-based models themselves are actually not forecasting models. So these are simulation models for which it's true, you can generate scenarios. But a big problem of agent-based models, I've been playing a lot with agent-based models, validation of agent-based model, have written books on that, but they are not forecasting tools. So you can generate scenarios, but for example, it's very difficult to perform a sensitivity test of your agent-based model. So I will not consider that as a reliable forecasting tool, at least not as reliable as the other things that are covered in the course. Don't be shy. Questions? Any other question about topics that are covered, about the structure, about the evaluation, about whatever you want?
There's a question about if M5 has superseded M4. No, actually, the M5 applied in a completely different domain than in M4. M5 was about predicting the sales of a big grocery retailer. So there we will have to look for models that perform well with irregular time series, with time series that are intermittent, that have a lot of zeros. And this task is completely different from that of M4, which where you have a lot of different time series from different domains, and also these data are continuous. So different, the M4 and the M5 covered completely different modeling approaches to solve forecasting, the forecasting problem of the competition. So this is exactly why we focus on all M competitions, because there were different lessons to be learned from each one of them.
And the big lesson with M5 was that the machine learning method, a simple machine learning method, beat all of the statistical methods by big amounts.
That's true.
Okay, if there's nothing more, I guess, thank all of you that you listened to us, and hopefully we'll see you in the course, unless there are any other questions.
There is still time to enroll for all these kind of things. Nick is the person to speak with for the fees, for all the things that are related to this. He is the guy. And as I told you, the course will start on February the 22nd, so officially essentially 2 weeks from now. But already next week, we will have week 0. Week 0, again, there is no live class, but you already find all the materials to start successfully the course. And especially if you are not familiar with R, you find the videos we recorded to teach you how to use R from scratch, even to how to install R. So we really start from basics. So it can be very nice if you can access that material in that case. So for any type of information about enrollment, please refer to Nick. Maybe Nick, you can give your details for the, yes.
Nick, can you post your email so people can have it?
Yeah, will do.
Because they may want to talk to you also about the fees for the course. And,
yeah, I think that I'm speaking to most people that are actually registered for this AMA. Nice to see everybody. But I will do that. You know, we've also got this €500 promo code that is going to expire in a few days. You know, Professor Magritta gives us, you know, given us a few more days for this €500 discount on the tuition fees. My email, I'm putting my email right now in the comments, but I will also follow up with you know, with an email tomorrow. If after this call, the webinar ends, there's anything that you thought, oh, I forgot to ask, please feel free to drop me an email with your question and I'll put it in front of the correct instructor and get you an answer as soon as we can.
And very important, if you know people that might be interested in the course but could not attend, for example, this live webinar, this is recorded and it will appear on the YouTube channel of our center. So you can also see this, and you will also find the old webinar of the previous edition. So also there we are okay, some of the questions obviously were the same, but many other questions. So feel free, and also feel free to contact us via the standard channel to ask questions. I'm on Twitter, so if you want, you can follow me on Twitter, or you can contact me on Twitter. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have it.
So thank you very much and have a good evening or a good day.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good evening, good afternoon. Speak to you soon.